Hey, Xiaomi here. So today I wanted to do my October TBR. Now, I usually don't do TBRs on my channel just because I tend to be a mood reader. So I thought that it was gonna be quite interesting to actually start doing TBRs to see my shift or change from the books that I decided at the beginning of the month towards the ones that I actually read towards the end of the month, which is something that I find kind of intriguing because, like I said, I tend to be a mood reader, and sometimes I start off with a TBR and then I end up just completely shifting everything, and I might be reading one or two from that TBR, but throughout the entire month I'll just pick up other books or random books or just books that pique my interest. So I'm gonna start doing these because I honestly want to every now and then start doing TBRs, because I think that I tend to do TBRs more towards readathons, and I don't know, I find something kind of alluring, or maybe sometimes a bit of an incentive for me to have prompts towards readathons, and maybe sometimes I might lead by them, other times I tend to shift them, but overall I do sometimes accomplish some of them. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the books that I would like to read for the month of October. Now, as for the physical books that I would like to get to throughout the month of October, I always want to have like a variation between 3 physical books, a graphic novel, and an audiobook, but I don't know what graphic novel I want to choose right now, so I'm going to leave that throughout the month. But I would have 5 physical books that I would really like to get to, and the first one that I'm going to show you, or the first one that I'm going to speak about, is a reread, and that is Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. I love this book so freaking much, and I can't wait to actually like physically annotate it, because here we follow Elizabeth, and she is an orphan who has been roughly raised in these magical libraries, and one day she gets accused of a crime that she really didn't commit, and here she gets thrusted into this wild adventure with another really interesting character who's called Nathaniel, and he is a sorcerer, but he also has this mysterious demonic creature at his side, and this other person is also really alluring, and I loved all of these 3 characters so freaking much. I have no idea how much I love these characters. This book spoke to me on such a deep level, because here we have the respect for books, the respect for knowledge, and how powerful knowledge really is, and I just simply love this story from beginning to end. And obviously eventually throughout their adventure that they're thrusted into, they discover some plots of this evil person who wants to destroy these magical libraries. This is a standalone. I don't want it to be a standalone. I would love for it to have further development, because there can be things that you can latch onto to have another story within this wonderful and amazing just world. I loved everything about it. I loved how atmospheric, and in the grimoires, how intriguing and alluring the magic also is. I just simply devoured everything in this book, and I would physically, like I said, really love to reread it again and see how my emotions shift or not, just basically being able to reread it. So this is one that I highly recommend. I have seen polarized reviews for Sorcery of Thorns, but honestly it depends on the person and what you want out of a book. Yes, Elizabeth is going to be very naive. Yes, you are going to hear that she's going to make some rash decisions, but this girl has been raised in a magical library where everything that she knows about, or the truth of what she knows about, is what she has written in books. And once she sees the reality of, you know, how she has been misled, she understands that there are a lot of things that are bigger or deeper to fight for than just, you know, what you have in front of you, and what you have been taught is relatively wrong. And you know, she's discovering all these things, and you know, her naivety is supposed to be shown throughout the story, and eventually how she grows as a character, which is something that it just spoke to me on such an emotional level, because I loved her so much. The fact that she was tall, and the fact that, you know, she had her feminine vibes to it, and she'd be like, well, who has time to comb their hair? I was like, oh my god, relatable. I loved her. And also Nathaniel is a bisexual sorcerer. He is just so sassy, brooding at times, and I just simply devoured him and his storyline, and just everything about him was just so intriguing. And then we have another character that I mentioned that I simply loved. So definitely pick up Sorcery of Thorns. If you don't want to invest in it, just pick it up in the library and actually read it, because it is a really interesting and really good read. The next book that I would like to get to is one that was sent to me, and I honestly don't know too much about it, but it is The Crowns of Crossworld by D.E. Knight. I would really like to read it because this was sent to me a while ago, and I feel really sad for not actually picking it up. What I know about this is that we have a 16-year-old girl by the name of Ivy, and it's like there's this border between magic and the mundane world, and one day she crosses this border, and this is where her magic basically awakens, and she's also thrusted into this adventure. I also know that there is this special school. I don't know what the special school entails. I don't know if it's going to teach her about magic or about blood magic, because I do remember reading about that in the synopsis. And also I do know that there is this evil queen that's after her. So it sounds really, really interesting, and I would really genuinely love to get to it, because the cover is also one that really does call to me, and it is a long time due. I need to read this ASAP. Next one that I would like to pick up is Pitch Dark by Courtney Alameda. What I know about this one is that it is about sci-fi. It deals about a lost artifact that might be the last hope for humanity, and it says that there are creatures or monsters that kill with sound. So that sounds interesting alone. And also I remember about the synopsis that says, in space no one can hear you scream. So those are the only things that really have me intrigued and invested in actually picking this book up. And I also think the cover is quite interesting. I do know that somebody told me that it was a bit of a disappointment for that person, but I can't wait to read it, because like, this was a highly anticipated release of mine. I think it was last year, if I'm not mistaken, or the year before, and then it was pulled back, and now I physically have it. So I'm like, you know what? This is the perfect month to read sort of creepy-ish kind of books. So this is something that might call to me. The next book that I would like to get to is The Wicked Deep by Shia Earnshaw. This one really does remind me of Hocus Pocus, just because what I read in the synopsis, it says that we have 3 witches that are all completely different. They are beautiful, but they are completely different, and that one day they get accused of witchcraft. So they are killed, because obviously probably it deals with the Salem witch hunts and whatnot, and their death basically curses the town. And then it tells you that the town has been cursed until now, because sort of that curse has been broken. And it reminds me completely of Hocus Pocus and the Sanderson sisters. I don't know how much of, you know, truthful that is, or how much truth there is to that they are quite similar, but I am invested. I do want to read a witchy story. I recently read Serpent and Dove, and I absolutely loved it, because the witches are really wicked. And even though I would like a book only just completely and utterly related to wicked witches and how these wicked witches just completely devour humanity. I don't know why, but I'd really be interested in reading a book like that, and obviously humanity having to struggle and fight and like kill these witches off. I don't know why, but that's something that I would like to read. So I don't know how dark or how deep this one is, but it is one that has attracted me since last year. And last year I wasn't able to read it in the month of October, and then I was like, you know what, this is a book that you actually pick up for the month of October, and I was like, I'm gonna leave it till next year. So hopefully I don't pass up on this one. The audiobook that I would like to get to throughout the month of October is Nocturna. Script doesn't have it available until the 12th. I honestly really don't remember too much about it. All I know is that it has Latinx vibes in it, and there's some kind of shape-shifting things happening with the face of a person and whatnot. I honestly don't know too much about it, and I'm right now not the right person for you to actually lead on by a synopsis, because I'm completely vague towards that one, because I read that synopsis a long time ago and I really can't remember to the life of me exactly what the synopsis entails. But I do know that it's one that I want to pick up, and I usually like to pick up books and know little to nothing about them, so I can actually, you know, be surprised when I'm actually reading those books. So that's one of the audiobooks that I would like to get to. And the final book that maybe possibly I would like to delve into would be God's Grave by J. Kristoff. I recently read Nevernight. I have conflicting emotions with Nevernight. Overall, it was enjoyable. I don't know how I'm gonna feel on God's Grave, just because I don't want to have a struggle to read it, but I am intrigued to see what else is it that happens with Mia and Mr. Kindly and everybody else at the Red Church. So yeah, this is one that I would like to get to, and hopefully I enjoy it. This does have sprayed edges, because I did represent the company on Bookstagram and it was sent to me, so that's why it has like those kind of sprayed edges with paw prints on it. So yeah, hopefully I'll get to this one. I might start it pretty soon, just because I don't want to forget Nevernight, because I honestly am not going to reread Nevernight to start God's Grave. Nothing is gonna make me reread Nevernight, because your girl can't. So those are all the books that I would like to possibly attempt to read throughout the month of October. We'll see how well this goes, and we'll see if I actually stick to this TBR. So if you want to tell me which of the books that you would like to accomplish throughout the month of October, then feel free and let me know, and we'll chit chat down below. But I want to say thank you for watching, and until next time, peace.